Right, so good evening, everyone. Here we are, Module 6. It's July the 7th. I'm so blessed and grateful to have you all with us again this evening. Um, it's been an incredible journey so far. I don't know about you lot, but it has for me. And you know, this kind of like this unfolding of you know, maybe sort of like revealing some of the more I was going to say deeper secrets. That's probably not quite the word I was looking for, but you know, some of the ways to really go into stuff that some people think is unfathomable, but actually turning it into something simple. I think it's probably just my obsession is to keep things simple so that anybody at no matter what level can really start working with this. And you know, because if we make things too complicated or convoluted, then you know there's enough going on in people's lives at the moment without adding more complexity. So what we're looking for is simplicity. And so as you know, I do hours and hours of work every week. I always have the call at the back of my mind about what the next step is and so on. So what I want to do today, first of all, is just for those of you who are coming to us kind of like mid-flow, to recap a little bit, because what I realize is that this in a search for simplicity of the flow, it's divided actually into 3 sections. The first section is the definite purpose statement and self-confidence formula. The second part is how do we use it and apply it in the most powerful way for us. And the third part is what I'm going to cover in a little bit more detail this evening, which is in between the times when we are relaxed and meditating and doing our definite purpose statement, which is basically the other 16 hours in the day. How do we maintain that level of positivity, confidence, focus, concentration, and general well-being? Okay, so let me just pull up these slides here. Here we are, and share this with you. So I'm not going to spend too long on all of this, but as I said, I think it's very important to recap. So the three pillars of inner growth. I actually did a presentation last year called the 3 pillars of growth, which was business growth. And so it was interesting that these 3 themes came up again. And there is a book called The 3 Pillars of Zen, actually. I was just like, what's this about 3 pillars that keeps coming up in my life? But anyway, never mind, that little mystery will at some point be revealed, no doubt. So as I said, we're talking about the definite purpose statement, or my definite chief aim in life. The definite purpose statement is something that has been proved time and time again that it works. But the key here is really to do it in a specific way. So actually, I did have a couple of things that I had a call this morning, as it turns out, with somebody who works directly with the person who I learned the definite purpose statement from. And she gave me a couple of precisions about her definite purpose statement that I thought would be quite interesting just to share. So in the beginning, we always start with 1 year from now. So let's say, it is the 7th of July, 2021. Okay, everybody's got that down. The next line needs to be, my name is, and then you say your name. Okay, and I found that so powerful. Sometimes you say I, and then in my case, Bridget Long, blah, 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 blah. But after the date, say, my name is. Okay, and you say your full name out loud. Okay, and then the next part is, I am. And then you go into the flow of the definite purpose statement. So that was one little detail that I just wanted to mention at the beginning of this call. And the second detail was in the bit where you have to kind of figure out where you would like to improve in order to achieve your definite aim in life. So say, for example, it's I'm determined, I am consistent, and I am patient. All right? Because you know that sometimes you procrastinate a little bit, and sometimes you lack a bit of self-confidence, and sometimes you're a bit impatient. Okay, so you're going to immediately say, I'm determined. So you don't just say, I am determined, you say, I am determined. You really give it some emotion. Okay, the key with the definite purpose statement, we heard it, with Alan Nagau's call last week, some of you were on it. It's about putting emotion behind the words. So if it's determined, I am determined. I am confident. Okay, can you feel that? The difference between saying I'm confident. I'm confident. And when it comes to the patient bit, you say, I am patient. I am patient. Okay, not I'm patient. That's slightly contradictory to what the word is trying to say. Okay, that's me. All right. So this is very important to put the corresponding emotion behind the words. Okay. My name is, I am, and then whatever you want to be. I am so happy and grateful that I have now achieved this amazing promotion to whatever level it is in my job. I am so happy and grateful that I am now the person who you want to become. Okay. And then behind that, I am so grateful and happy that I am now receiving X amount of income per month, and you put a figure on it. Okay. Right. So always start these phrases with I am. Okay. It anchors you immediately to your higher self. All right. So there's just a couple of points I want to say about the definite chief aim or the definite purpose statement. The second part of this is really about granting oneself twice daily for 10 to 15 minutes, a really calm, quiet moment of silence where you can go into that total relaxation and begin the process of imagining yourself already having received what you require most in life, your definite purpose. Okay. So the whole process of going in, breathing, relaxing the body, quietening the mind, quieting the mind. And then when the mind is nice and still, like the water on a perfectly calm lake, then you bring your vision into that quiet mind of exactly what your definite purpose is. Is it a special recognition? Is it possessing something? Say, for example, your definite purpose is to own a house of a particular kind by this time next year. Go into that house and live in it. Go through all the rooms. Look at the colors. See the windows and the light shining through it. Make that visualization as powerful and as detailed as you possibly can. And this, in order for it to be really successful, needs to be done first thing in the morning, as soon as you possibly can after you get out of bed, and as near as possible as you can before going to sleep, because that's when your subconscious mind is the most receptive, particularly if you're in a state of relaxation. Okay? And this is really, really powerful, and you will start seeing in your mind's eye your ideal, your dream, your definite purpose. All right? When you first start doing this, if you haven't been used to doing this kind of process before, the image might not be very clear. That's okay. I am patient. Okay? I am loving to myself and loving to others. All right? So be patient, be persistent with this, and you will see little by little, that image in your mind's eye will become clearer and clearer until you literally will open your eyes after you've done this imaginary process, and you actually can't believe you're not there. Okay? It will become more real to you, that picture in your mind's eye, than what you can see in your outer world. All right? That's when it gets really good fun. So just as a little indicator, some people might say, oh, I find it so hard to visualize. I find it so hard to visualize. Well, here's a little exercise that you can do. Close your eyes and imagine that you're holding in your hand a tennis ball. Okay? Imagine you're holding a tennis ball. Okay, so I'm closing my eyes. I can hold a tennis. You can feel the kind of velvety, flurry, sort of fluffy cover on it, can't you? You can feel it. Okay. Now change that ball for a baseball, leather. You can feel it, right? You feel the leather and the stitching. Now change that ball again for a golf ball. You can feel the little dips in the ball, can't you? And it's harder with the plastic. And you can see it, can't you? It's white. Okay? So can you see immediately with that little simple exercise, you know how to visualize. And in fact, that visualization process is teaching you how to develop your imagination. And your imagination is what separates our power from any other living creature on this planet. We can imagine anything into reality. And in fact, everything that you see around you, the chair you're sitting on, the screen you're looking at, the room that you're in, has once initially been in the imagination of somebody. Do you agree? It has to be imagined before it can be realized. And this whole process is exactly the same as everything that you can currently see in your outer world. There's nothing scientific, there's nothing, unreal about this. This is reality. Everything that has been created was first created in the imagination. All right? So this process of twice daily, early in the morning and early at night, as much as you can, that will enable you to start really developing your imagination. Some of you will have read the book Think and Grow Rich, and he mentions at the beginning of the book, there's a secret in it, but he doesn't reveal what it is. And he says as you go through the book, you will see that this secret is referred to many, many times. But he still doesn't say what it is. But I'm convinced that the secret is imagination. Okay? I'm absolutely convinced of this. And in my research and my reading and my studying, every single teacher, sage, personal development specialist, they all point to this one thing. If you can imagine it, and you can feel it, and you can emotionalize it, you can realize it. Okay? So what we're going to go into a little bit more detail now is what happens during the rest of the day when things don't quite go according to plan. And you might get rejected or criticized, or somebody might be angry at you, or you might read something that upsets you. That's called life. Okay, so how are you going to stay in that peak state, of well-being all day, the one that you've experienced in your chair in the morning and in the evening? How about the idea of being able to be like that all day, no matter what life throws at you? Perfectly calm, perfectly joyful, perfectly happy. Well, it is possible, but it requires a bit of an effort. Okay? Naturally, as creatures, we're only born with two fears. I'm sure many of you know this. One is the fear of falling, and one is the fear of noise. Every other fear that we have, and for the most part, it's fear of being criticized or not loved by other people. That's the biggest fear, is created in our own minds. Okay? And then at the end of this little presentation, I'm going to reveal to you something that, if you are willing to try, will completely, forever eliminate any fear or anxiety or feeling which is anything other than well-being in your life. Okay? So what are the 12 qualities of a mastermind? It was initially called the 12 Qualities of a Disciplined Mind, which is probably a little bit more accurate. But I didn't want the word discipline to be misinterpreted as being something that is like a punishment. Okay, or maybe that's just me. But let's call it being a mastermind, because when you do master these qualities, then you will see that you will become a mastermind, particularly in the development of your imagination. All right. So the first one, which is the longest one, is about faith. It's about belief. And it's all very well, we hear all the time people saying, you've got to believe in yourself, you've got to believe that you can. Okay, well, I'm sorry, but I don't feel that's very helpful, because people need to know how to believe. They need to know what to do to build their belief. Now, we know there's positive thinking, but that doesn't last more than 5 minutes, right? We know that there's affirmations, but frankly, does everybody spend half an hour in the mirror every morning saying they love themselves? No, right? And we know that there's the process of letting go. I'm going to touch on that in a little while. But ultimately, what you need to understand, and I only came across this today, and it struck me between the eyes. Belief is actually another word for love. Okay? There's a wonderful book called Aspire by Kevin Hall that I read years and years ago. But it didn't mean much to me then, because it was at the beginning of my journey. But one of the principles about the attribute of hearing, which is developing faith, is the ability to remain unmoved by words which do not correspond to my definite chief aim. And it's about being the master of the gate from my conscious to my subconscious mind. Okay, so when you hear things that you don't like, when you maybe are criticized, or you get angry, or you see something in the news, or whatever it might be that upsets you, you have to immediately remember that anything that you hear or see that stirs up some kind of an emotional reaction is immediately being lodged into your subconscious mind, and eventually will find some form of expression. Okay? So it's very important to be the guardian of the gate, right? Every single day, every single minute, be the guardian at your gate. Only allow words past that gate that are in complete alignment with your definite chief aim. So there are 2 books actually that I wanted to mention on this particular part. One is called The 4 Agreements, and the other one is Aspire by Kevin Hall. The 4 Agreements is by, somebody help me, the name of the author? Anyway, look it up. It's one of the best known books. And so what we realize is to build belief or build faith, we need to be impeccable with our words, because words are not just letters put together to make a sound. They are a source of power. Okay? So we must always be impeccable with our word. And when I say that, it's not about the words we say to others. It's especially about the words we say to ourselves. The first step in building belief is that we must stop criticizing ourselves for every little thing. Always thinking we're not good enough at something. All right? So in order to be impeccable with our word, there's a very lovely, the first chapter of this book, Aspire by Kevin Hall. It's 11 or 12 chapters, and each chapter is dedicated to one word in its meaning and its power. And the first word the word in the first chapter is genshai. And genshai basically means never talk anyone small, the first person being yourself. Always be impeccable with your word and never talk yourself small. And as you do that, your belief will build. Your belief in yourself will build. Okay? When you catch yourself criticizing yourself in front of the mirror, because you've got bags under your eyes, or an extra couple of pounds, or, whatever it might be that you don't like about yourself, Pick yourself up and turn it around. Be impeccable with your word. Okay? You remain unmoved in the face of criticism or judgment. Easier said than done, you might say. But once again, once you're aware of the emotional effect that criticism of yourself or from others comes, you can be the guardian of the gate and close that gate and don't let it in. All right? First thing is that every thought and every word that you speak to yourself and others is all good, all loving, all kind, all thankful, all abundant, all forgiving, all confident with poise and grace. Okay. By so doing, I develop faith in myself. All right. I saw a lovely quote from Mother Teresa today, which is, doing little things with great love. And these things might not be important individually, but when they're grouped together and we do it with great love, collectively as well, my goodness me, it changes everything. Okay, so do every little thing with great love. All right, so that's probably the most important part of developing a mastermind. So, faith has a cousin or a brother. It's called courage. All right, so one builds on the other. As you build your belief, you build your courage. Okay, this is going to enable you to wait patiently with faith and with courage until such time as your definite chief aim becomes a living reality. And it will. Sometimes we have to be just a bit patient. And that's often when we waver, right? Oh, it's never going to happen. And I don't know if I can do this. And all that little stuff that starts happening, okay? Be impeccable with your word. I'm still, and I remain confident in the knowledge that I am. Pull out your definite purpose statement. Learn it by heart. Get it soaked into your bones. And then in a moment of during the day when something might happen that might set us off kilter, pull out a sentence. I am. My name is, and I am. Okay, I'm a confident leader. Okay, I'm a woman of completion. I do that all the time. I'm a woman of completion. You know, this will develop the strength of character that's beyond the wildest dreams of the undisciplined man or woman who only holds faith in things that she can see or he can see. You've got to be able to believe in things that you can't see. It's the definite faith in the Bible, isn't it, right? We'll get to that in a minute. So here we are. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Right? That's faith. Just believing that it's coming and not wavering in that faith. So faith and courage. 3 and 4 are together. Justice and love. All right? Justice is about being wise, and love is the ability to always look away from evil and see good at all times. No matter how somebody makes you feel angry or sad or frustrated or indignant or whatever it might be, always look for the good. Always look for the good. Never criticize and never judge. We never know what's going on in anybody's world. Okay, we never know what's happened. You never know what they're carrying with them from their childhood, whatever it might be. Never criticize, never judge. And by so doing, we never criticize or judge ourselves. Okay? Because when we criticize and judge others, we're just doing it to ourselves too. I'm free to choose love. I'm free to choose judgment. I choose love. Okay. So the state of consciousness. So this is where we can maintain the highest and purest state of consciousness at all times, knowing that we are all one with the universal whole. And did you know that if you looked at our bodies or any material object under an electroscope, we're all just vibrating electrons and neutrons. We're all part of the whole. You might think we're all individual people, but ultimately, as I said, if you looked at us, the whole world under an electron microscope, all you'd see is vibrating atoms. Okay, we are all one of the whole. So this aspect of my mind enables me to develop the discipline to remain in the consciousness of my definite chief aim until it becomes a physical reality. So by remaining high in that level of consciousness, we do not waver. We can hold what we desire in our mind's eye much more easily because there isn't that criticizing mental chatter going on all the time. Okay? Now, it won't be as clear as when you're in your chair in the morning or in the evening, that visualization, but you can draw on it anytime. Anytime. Boop, there it is. Yay. So you can carry on. Do your next thing that you need to do to move forward. Transform my desires into reality by remaining, by remaining the level of consciousness at all times with that which I desire. Okay, holding the vision. It's not holding the vision while you're sitting meditating, it's holding the vision while you're working. Holding that vision while you're working. Okay, 6. This is huge. The imaginative faculty. I'm awakened to my ability to develop a strong imagination. Imagination is a muscle like everything else. All right? By so doing, I become a beacon of light. I'm radiant. I'm a leader. I'm 1% of the 1%. What we're doing out here is leading edge stuff. Okay, guys? This is leading edge. All right? I mean, most people will never write a life goal, let alone a definite purpose statement. Okay, so give yourselves a pat on the back. All right? When we have a strong imagination and we hold that vision and we're in full confidence and faith, we become radiant, attractive, magnetic, charismatic. Do you agree? Okay. Wow, that person knows where they're going. Well, I'm a bit lost, so I think I can follow them. You know, if we're lost, everybody else is lost. No lost person is going to follow a lost person. Okay. You know where you're going and you radiate that confidence because you have a strong, that vision in your imagination, in your mind's eye all the time. People recognize me because I'm radiant and full of light. This is the quality that separates one man or woman from another. It's all the artists, the writers, the philosophers, the musicians, the businessmen and women of the world. Those ones that are out on the leading edge have all used without exception, their imaginative faculty. Whether it be Shakespeare or Steve Jobs or Warren Buffett or Oprah Winfrey, all of them, whatever thought leader you want to indicate, musician, scientist, whatever, all stems from developing the imaginative faculty. Okay, and this process of doing it twice daily and then just working on it daily and daily will develop your imaginative faculty, and then you will start drawing to you through this developed imagination exterior, outside, higher forces that nobody can explain, but we know they're there. Okay. So this is the difference between a leader and a follower. What you're doing here is you're on this call because you're all leaders, whatever your chosen profession, whatever your chosen domain, you're leaders because you're here leading from the front, being that person, developing your imagination. It enables you to rise above all limitations because your imagination is limitless. Limitless. You can train yourself to imagine any single thing that you truly desire. So step number 1, you've got to really know what you want. Really, really know. Be sure. Okay. Maybe that's the first hurdle where a lot of people stumble because they don't really know. If you don't really know, just meditate. You know, ask, okay, can I have some guidance here, please? You know, give me a sign, show me something, you know, give me a book, a resource. It's going to come across my path. It'll look like it's coincidence, but it won't be. If you're really out there looking for your purpose in life, it will find you. And you will find it. Okay? Be patient. I am patient. Okay. So I developed the image of my definite chief's aim in all its glorious detail. I hold the image of my dominant level of consciousness at all times. By so doing, I draw out the wisdom and the knowledge that I already possess in its latent form to achieve it. Okay, this is key. You need to know that we are all special and no one is special. We all have equal amounts of power within us, regardless of our age, our education, our cultural background, our parents. We all have exactly the same amount of power within us because we are all part of a universal whole. Okay? So it's impossible that one would have more than another. The only difference between people that go faster than us and that don't is that they know how to access it and use it. And this method will teach you how to do that. That power is within you. It is latent. This is going to wake it up. You're going to know how to use it. Okay? We feel it sometimes, don't we? But it's not palpable, and we know we have moments of huge inspiration or huge amounts of energy. It's nothing to do with because we've had a good night's sleep or eaten a good meal. That energy comes from somewhere else. It's like when we fall in love for the first time, right? Nobody sleeps all night, right? We've got so much energy, we don't know what to do with it. This is exactly the same. You can be like that all the time. Yeah. First love energy. How about that? All right, so this has been a huge challenge for me, not allowing doubt to creep in. Not allowing doubt to creep in. Okay. It is about maintaining indifference to all suggestions that are not in alignment with that which I affect. So if somebody criticizes you, if you criticize yourself, you detach. It is total detachment. It is poise in the face of adversity. Okay. Disciplined denial is not a struggle or a fight. It is indifference. So I'll give you an example. Somebody criticizes you because you haven't done something right. The first thing you do, that's not me, and you try to defend yourself, and you know, you get all huffed and puffed and frustrated and angry, and the blood rises and all the rest of it. No, indifference is power. It is poise. Poise is power. Okay. You know, keep the surface of that lake calm inside, and you will see your vision more clearly. It's a bit like looking in a pool of limpid water, right, that's calm. You can see your image of your face, can't you? This is the same. Number 8 is accepting the fact that all that we desire are desires of God or desires of the universe. God wants us to be wealthy and have love and health. He does not want us to be miserable on this beautiful blue and green planet. Okay, we're here to be happy. So recognize that everything you desire does not make you greedy, does not make you take something from someone else. It does not change you as a person. It does not reduce your values. It is our divine right to have love, money, and health. There's plenty for everyone. Doesn't matter how rich we are, how much love we have. We don't ever say, I would like less health so people can have more, do we? But often we think that if we want more money, we're being kind of greedy, or, you know, it lacks values. It's exactly, money and health are exactly the same. It's just an exchange of energy. We'd never like to say, I'd like less love so people can have more love. But our relationship with money is a little bit different, isn't it? You know, there's nothing wrong with wanting to be a multi-millionaire. You're not contributing in any way, shape, or form to the poverty of the earth. We know that if we took all the money in the world and we split it individually, equally between everybody, within a week they'll be rich and poor again. It's all about consciousness. Okay. It's not to say we don't give when we can, and as much as we can, of course we do. But never wish yourself poor, or think that money will change you, make you a bad person, or whatever that might be. We went into money beliefs at the beginning of the course, didn't we? You know, the ones we picked up from our parents. God bless them. Okay. So the quality of discernment is about developing intuition and insight. This again comes from a clear and ordered mind, a calm mind. So we're in the face of adversity, or we're working with somebody, or, you know, we're in a situation that requires creativity. We can really calm our minds, and so we can see the bigger picture. We develop insightfulness and intuition. We develop our kind of gut feeling, you know. This is again coming from this whole idea of maintaining, you know, being always being poised. It doesn't mean to say we don't have feeling. It doesn't mean to say we don't feel love. It doesn't mean to say we don't feel excitement. But it doesn't mean to say that we are attached to that in order to be happy. Okay? We are happy no matter what. You know, maybe the question fundamentals, do you want to be happy? You don't want to be happy. Okay, we want to be happy, right? But if being happy depends on having something or not having something, we'll never be happy. Poise is power. Okay. Number 10 is gratitude. Well, we're all pretty good at that, right? But we can always be better. All right. I walk always with a quality of praise and thanks. I give thanks for things seen and not seen. This is why in the definite purpose statement, thank you, God, it is done. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You know, thank you. It opens the windows of abundance and allows the flow of gifts way beyond what I am even capable of conceiving and receiving. I slightly off tangent, but just wanted to mention something, so you know, about gratitude and giving thanks and doing little things with great love. In certain Asian cultures, when they hand an object over to somebody, they don't ever hand it over with one hand, they always hand it with two. It's a way of showing love and gratitude towards the person that they're handing it over to. And if you think of that, isn't that beautiful? You know, just like always handing, even if it's just handing a toy to a child or a cup of coffee to your husband or whatever it might be, always with two hands. I think that's just such a beautiful gesture of love and appreciation. So, I mean, I don't often remember to do it, but when I do, I do. You know, it feels nice. And funnily enough, the other person receives what you give them differently. Yeah. Try it. It's nice. All right, so 11. It's about, again, only being conscious of the abundance of life, only hearing good news. Only hearing good news. I'm incapable of hearing anything other than good news, and in turn, I will only talk of good news. Be impeccable with your word. All right, so this is the last one, and this is where I'm going to go into just one thing that I discovered this week, actually about 10 days ago now, that I've been practicing, and that you can do it too if you wish to, okay? And then I'll open up for questions, comments, whatever it might be. So this is about letting go of the old self in order to create the new. In the Bible, it's the resurrection. I give up my life for a friend, right? So you're giving up the old person for a friend, which is your new self, okay? All right. I let go of my old consciousness in order to embrace the new. You know, it is the quality and it is the strength of letting go. Letting go of the old self. Being willing to change. Oh, that takes us right back to the number 1, okay? It is the quality of complete detachment from the old self in order to build the new. All right? To build the old self which does not serve oneself. You know, the fears, the anxiety, the guilt, the resentment, the lack of forgiveness, whatever it might be. It's just this process of being willing to let go. So I will upload this presentation in the group, okay? Some of you have taken notes, I see, but others, might want to refer to it again. So there you have the 12 qualities for a mastermind. All right. So the whole process of letting go is, it's great in theory, but in practice, it's sometimes a bit trickier. Okay, do you agree? And so I've been studying quite deeply the work of Neville Goddard the last 10 days or so. And he was the idea who gave, it was in his book actually, Faith is Your Fortune, that gave me the idea of the 12 disciplines of mind, okay? I just took what was in the book and turned it into sort of more modern language to be easier understood, because there's lots of biblical references. I kind of like, turn them around a bit and make them a little bit more user-friendly, if you like. But I came across a process which is called the pruning shears of revision. And I thought, oh, that sounds interesting. I wonder what that is. And so I can't remember if it was the audio first or the written stuff first, but basically what it is about revising the day to make it exactly as how you would have liked it to be, just as you go to sleep. And there's a technique to it. And then if you want to, you can go right back as far as your childhood, which is what I did yesterday and today, and it's been very powerful. We'll stay with the today one today, okay? And if you'd like to know more about going deeper, and you know, perhaps we can have a kind of a higher level training on that. So there's a story behind this, and I think you'll like it. When he was 7 years old, Neville Goddard, a woman said to him, "I have a vision concerning you. I do not know what it is you're going to do." Bear in mind, he was 7, okay? "But I have been shown you will do something that through the centuries you will grow in stature long after you have gone. 3 men will be mentioned in hundreds of years to come, and one of them will be you." And then in this lecture, The Pruning Shears of Revision, he says he believes that the reason why his name will live on is because of this. I mean, he's written countless books and done countless lectures and so on. He died, I think, in 1970. But this technique of the pruning shears of revision is what he believes is why his name will carry on for hundreds of years to come. Okay, so this is the pruning shears of revision. If we do it daily, we will awaken the inner latent genius within. So I want you to imagine that your mind is like a garden, and the garden grows flowers and weeds. Okay, so the flowers are the lovely things and the weeds are the unhelpful things. Okay, now we know that a garden grows every day, and people who do a lot of gardening, they'll know they need to do weeding every day. Do you agree? Well, the mind is the same. You've got to do some weeding every single day. All right. So you might say, well, that sounds very good in theory, but how am I going to do that? All right. So what we're going to do now is, first of all, understand that, once again, I've said this again and again and again, when everything we have in our external world, we have created, first of all, in our inner world, without exception, good, bad, and ugly, and indifferent. Okay? Now, again, conceptually, we know that. But what we need to understand now is how to change it. Because if you're on this call, it's because you want to change something in your life. Either health, love, or finances, or maybe all three. Okay? So what we're looking at here is doing something which is comparable to a gardener. Okay? So at the end of every day, as near to bedtime as possible, this doesn't apply to Christian, but everyone else, you're taking your makeup off. You've cleaned your face, you're in your pajamas, whatever you wear to bed, whatever it might be, you relax, okay? Review the day. Do not judge it, okay? Just review it. Look over the entire day, all the events, conversations, meetings, etc. And then you see them all clearly in your mind's eye. And then you're going to rewrite it. Okay? You're going to rewrite every single aspect of your day and make it conform to the ideal day you wish you had experienced. So, let's take a scene as an example. You've had a conversation with somebody and it hasn't gone well. Okay? They've ended up, let's say it's with a loved one. All right, let's go stay into neutral ground here, right? We'll say it's with a loved one, right? You've had a conversation, you've had an argument, okay? It started off fine. You were talking about the color of the wallpaper, and suddenly it all started going pear-shaped, okay? And that was not good. And both of you ended up arguing. In the end, you couldn't even remember what you were arguing about, okay? And then everybody got upset, and you hadn't spoken to each other for the rest of the evening. So you're going to go to bed feeling pretty rubbish, right? Wrong. In that conversation, you're going to go back to it and see that conversation in your mind eyes when you first start discussing the color of the wallpaper. At that point, there's no argument. You're just having a chat, right? About, what do you think? Well, this could be nice and that could be nice. Okay. And then from that point on, you imagine in your mind's eye how you would have liked that conversation to finish. And you relive that conversation. Okay? You rewrite the ending. Rewrite the ending. This is used apparently actually quite a lot in psychology. I had no idea, but this is something you don't need to go. You don't need to go to a, unless you want to go and see Viv. You don't need to go to a counsellor to do it, right? But this is something that everyone can do. So, for example, sometimes my days are quite long and I can't remember how many meetings I've done. But, I'll take, let's see if I can take a typical day, which was like yesterday. I think I did 7 or 8 meetings or something. Oh, that was a good one. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 calls. Okay. So in my mind's eye, I went through, if you can't remember exactly, just look at your planner or your diary and we'll see what you've done that day. And you go through each one. And then you envisage how you would like that call or that conversation to have finished. And you do this over and over and over again until the only thing you can see is a happy, successful, and wonderful outcome of everything that's happened to you that day. Does that sound like fun? That's fucking great, isn't it? Right, sorry, but like, seriously, man, right? This is just like, what? Okay, so let me tell you, I've been practicing this for the last few days. I was just like, oh, this is the key, this is the key, this is so cool, all right? This is so cool. So first couple of days now, I've been working a lot, developing my imagination and stuff for everything. So whatever level you're at, you're always good enough, right? Don't start criticizing yourself if you haven't got a good imagination, right? Please don't do that, okay? Start where you are, okay? Even if you can't do the whole day, just do one, right? Just do one meeting, one conversation, one, whatever it might be, okay? Just do one. And if you can do more, and just review one. So it doesn't have to be a long process. And I'm doing it as I'm falling asleep. Okay. So this is why, well, I mean, I sleep on my own anyway, but if you've got somebody next to you, the conversation's gone, either they're asleep or, or whatever, right? You're doing this as you go to sleep. It actually makes you go to sleep really fast, because as soon as you start imagining all these lovely, positive, wonderful things, what happens is you start relaxing and you just literally fall to sleep. Because all that tension, all that frustration, all that stuff that you've left, boiling inside you, you've rewritten the ending. Now, those of you who have a little metaphysical understanding will know that time is an illusion. People say you can't rewrite the past, but I'm telling you, you can. Because time is an illusion, ultimately. There's only now this moment in time. Okay, but we're not going to go down that rabbit hole for the moment, right? Just try it. Take it seriously and do it every night. Just as you go to bed, review your day and rewrite the ending. Okay, it's the most beautiful experience. All right, do you like that idea? Is it fun? Okay, you can imagine anything. Because remember, the imagination is the master weaver of life. Anything you can imagine, you can realize in real life. Anything. And everything that has already been realized comes from the imagination. Okay, we've heard this through since time began, since time immemorial. All the great creators, whatever their speciality, it's because of a developed imagination. Okay. If you want to go further and you think you've got a few things to sort out with your parents, have a different conversation with your parents. Right? Hear them say different things to you than the things they did say that you didn't like. I would have literally given my life to hear my mother say once, I love you. Just once. I know she did. She just could never say it. Well done. You've done great. You're amazing. Congratulations. Never once. And I know she felt it. And she'd say it to other people, but she could never say it to me. And that's all I wanted to hear. So I went back and I started to listen to my mother congratulating me, saying all those things that I wanted to hear. Wow. Really, really powerful. Okay. Now, you might have all had absolutely perfect childhoods with parents that loved and supported and encouraged you in everything that you did, and they always thought you were wonderful, and they told you it every day, and blah, 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 blah. I don't know. On the face of it, I had a golden childhood. Wealthy parents, you know, successful people. I didn't care about all that. You know, I just wanted love and approval. And I always felt it was never good enough. And I was disappointing. So I spent the rest of my life going from one car crash to another because I just carried on the stuff that I'd learned in my childhood. I'm disappointing. Okay. And this is not a pity party. This is just fact. I know, because I've seen it happen again and again. Whether it be, you know, relationships, business, whatever. You know, you say, if you want to know what's wrong with your life, just look at the mistakes you've repeated again and again. That's the universe going, come on, try again. Try again. Okay. That's how we know what's wrong, right? But we need to know how to fix it. And this is the way you can fix it. So instead of having this machine in my head of my mother constantly criticizing me and telling me I'm not good enough and saying I'm fat and saying I'm dumb or whatever it might be, and comparing me all the time to other children. Oh, you got second. Oh, who got first? Can't you just be happy you got second? You know? Oh, I got 98. What happened to the other 2%? No, all the time. I keep hearing saying, my God, that's amazing. Well done. Congratulations. You're incredible. I love you. I'm so proud. Blah, 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 blah. All the time the last 2 days. My God, it's been life-changing. You know, please do that. Rewrite your past. That's it for tonight. Does anyone have any questions or would like to make a comment or say something that they've learned or realized? Okay, you can unmute yourselves if you wish to. No? Anyone still awake?
Yeah, I'm here, Bridget.
Yeah, hi Viv, hi.
Yeah, thank you so much. Just want to say for sharing your story there. I'm sure it resonates with many of us, where we have feelings of just falling short of those people who we craved their love and approval. And yet we can, through this process you've been describing, reauthor our own life. And that is so powerful with the deep connection that we're often seeking. And we could build that through ourselves. Those connections we seek externally are just so much more ready, so much easier to come by, and just feel more genuine. But that's because we get that connection here. Yes. So I love that. I loved all those 12 steps things again. It was really useful.
Thank you. Tony Robbins says it, rewrite your story. Mm-hmm. Rewrite your story. But my question is always the same thing. Well, how? You know, don't tell me to do something. Show me how to do it. And this is how you can rewrite your story.
Yeah, beautiful.
Okay, start if you don't want to go right back to your childhood, start with today. Okay. And then little by little, you'll find yourself very, very quickly gravitating to, further and further back. Ultimately, guys, whether we like it or not, pretty much by the age of 7, we're hardwired. Okay. And then we just grow up and keep repeating the same things over and over. Okay. But the good news is we have neuroplasticity and we can change it. And this is the most powerful way of doing that. We can also do it through affirmations. We can do it through positive thinking. We can do it through, the processes of, meditation. But this is concrete stuff. Okay. This is a process. This is quantifiable. This is something you can write it down. You know, why don't you just, like, I don't know, you could do that, right? I mean, I just had this idea. You could just like sit down and literally rewrite your story physically.
Yes.
Okay.
Definitely.
But ultimately, it's got to be in your imagination. It's got to be in because that's what you have with you 24/7. Okay. During the writing process, it's just going to be what, 10 minutes, half an hour, but keep that in your mind, whatever it might be. Okay. Write the story. Train your mind to do it at night, and then just, if you wish to, go back deeper into your early years, because everything that pretty much that we create is what's happened, maybe the age of 10, but pretty much by the age of 7. You know. Now, this isn't a parent bashing situation here, right, at all, because our parents were just doing the best they possibly could for us in what they knew. You know. But what's interesting, this goes beyond forgiveness. It goes way beyond forgiveness, because there's suddenly nothing to forgive when you rewrite the past. It's absolution.
It's Christian here. I just want to say thank you so much. I've been studying this back and forward for quite a long time now, and also teaching it forward. And I just love how professional you do this, and so understandable in human language, as we say, because Think and Grow Rich can be a hard one to read or study over and over. And you just put it so simply for people to understand. So on behalf of everybody on the call, I just want to say a massive thank you for being who you are and sharing your personal story and helping everybody else to understand how powerful this is.
Thank you, Christian. I actually cried today. It was a relief. Yeah, I haven't cried in 10 years. Yeah. It was just like, I didn't cry. It just went, I don't know, about 2 minutes, but you know, that for me was a big step, right? Yeah, huge. Yeah. So do it. Yeah, I can see. Change your life forever. Teach it to your children, your loved ones, whoever listen to. Okay. Right. Well, I think that's it. Perhaps, you know, maybe next week we could, if you want to inspired to practice this, you can come back with maybe some stories to share what's happened, if anything, if you've enjoyed it, what you found challenging. It'd be good to do that. I have more of a sort of a Q&A, but I'm counting on you to come with stuff. All right. Okay.
Thank you.
Wishing you a lovely end of evening, and I'll see you next week. Okay.
Thank you, Bridget.
Right.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.